Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a video all about cream contouring. I wanted to go in depth on how I cream contour and cream highlight my face. And in this video, I showcase the LA Girl ProConceal concealers. These are amazing, and I basically contour and highlight my entire face using these two products that I love. So if you want to see how I cream contour and highlight my face, then just keep on watching. Now this would normally be the part where I like to set my under eyes with a powder, but since we are going to cream contour, I'm not going to use any powders whatsoever until I'm completely happy with the contouring. So the cream contour that I have been loving, and I used this in my first Valentine's Day tutorial a couple weeks ago. These are the LA Girl ProConceal concealers. The shade range of these is so immense that they have shades in all different tones. The ones that I have are Porcelain and Cool Tan, and they've just got this little applicator. It's kind of like a squeezy tube thing where it goes into this flexible brush type applicator. So what I like to do with cream contouring my cheeks is right at the top part of where your ear like curves, at the very top where it connects, that's kind of like where there's like an indentation, and that's where we're going to contour the hollow of your cheek. So we've got your cheekbone here, and then we've got the hollow underneath, and that kind of connects to right there on the bridge of the ear. So that's where I'm going to be contouring, and I'm not going to be bringing it down all the way. I'm just going to be bringing it kind of halfway to the very end of my eye. Okay, so right about there. I'm going to try and make sure that they're as even as possible starting off. Now that we've got that on, I'm going to go ahead and contour the other places. So sometimes I like to contour on my forehead, and basically contouring means you're shading your face where the normal shades on your face happen. So usually there's a shade in your contour area because your cheekbones are higher up. There's usually a shade there. There's usually a shade underneath your lip area. So I'm going to contour here on the sides of the forehead where some of the shade would hit. I'm going to go ahead and contour right here. It doesn't really matter if you're contouring like in a line or a dot sort of motion, just as long as like your strokes are evenly placed. I'm also going to contour down the side of the nose, and I'm going to bring it up on the bridge just a little bit. Okay, and now we're going to just blend that out. What I like to do with the nose portion, especially if I get too much contour shade on there, which I did a little bit, which is definitely okay, we can save it, is I'm blending it downwards, not upwards. So don't blend it this way into the nose, because then your nose is just going to look really muddy. Blend it out downwards, and then we can kind of clean it up a little bit more as we go along with it with a highlighted shade. This is just going to like cinch and make it look a little bit more structured. Okay, now if you wanted to clean up the sides a little bit, use that cream concealer and just kind of put it on the sides of your nose, and then we're going to put it all the way down the middle, and that's going to clean it up as well as highlight those areas. Very nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and blend in our cream contour on our cheeks. I don't want any harsh line on here, so I'm just going to blend it out until it's nice and blown out and even, and there's no harshness. And you can bring it in a little bit further as you're blending it out, just to really carve those out. All right, so we're gonna clean that under contour area up in a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Okay, now before I go on to the forehead, I'm gonna go ahead and just try and clean up the cheeks a little bit. So I'm gonna go right underneath that contour and clean it up where it got a little bit too far down. And then also just put strokes all underneath that as well. And it's just really going to brighten underneath the contour, make it look a little bit more clean and structured. So I started my contour right about here, and I'm going right underneath where I had originally placed my contour and shading it downwards or highlighting it downwards with the Porcelain shade. And when I do bring it down the cheeks, I like to do it in a slightly slanted motion, like a little bit of a curve, but not too much. It's just how I like to do contour. Some people like it a little bit more rounded. Some people like it a little bit more sharp. I kind of like the mixture of them both. I don't like anything too sharp, but I definitely don't want round to accentuate the roundness of my face. So I kind of do it in a combination way. Alright, and then I'm just going to blend that out, and instead of blending it upwards like we did with the contour, we're blending it downwards. So I'm now blending in the highlight into the contour a little bit so that there's not like a harsh line throughout. Alright, so that's good to go. I'm going to go ahead and blend this out before it dries too much. I really like how cream contour and highlight like just makes your face look like it doesn't leave your skin super powdery. It doesn't just make it look like packed on. I do want to contour the neck a little bit as well, so I'm just going to swipe this right underneath my jawline and then blend that out. Now the thing about this that gets a little tricky is you don't obviously want this sort of contour line on your neck separating your face from your neck. This is where you're going to really have to pay attention to how effectively you've blended it out. And if it's not blended out enough, then blend it some more. So it's just a nice little shadow under there to kind of give the illusion of a more pronounced jawline. Alright, and then I'm going to highlight my forehead, just right in the middle. And you could also do a cream blush or a cream highlight before you apply any powders. You could definitely do that as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first go ahead and set my under eyes. And since I've been talking and doing all the cream contouring and stuff like that, I just want to go ahead and blend out my under eye area just to make sure that there's no gathering or creasing under there. I'm using my tried and true Fit Me powder. I'm just going to sweep that underneath right there and set it. I am going to go ahead and set my highlights with the same powder. So my forehead here, and it's a very brightening powder, so it's just gonna really accentuate the highlight right underneath my cheek, which I might go in and do some more of this after I set my contour. And right down the bridge of the nose and on the sides. Alright, so now that we've got that, I'm going to go ahead and set my contour with the Shade and Light palette. I'm using the Shadow Play shade, which is the middle shade right here. I'm first going to set the contour on my nose so that it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm using the Angled Eye W20 from Smlis Glam. I really do not know how to pronounce this. Smlis Glam, I think. Just gonna pick up some of that on one side of the brush, tap off the excess, and then just go in, and where we applied that shadow before, just going right over that. Light strokes, nothing too crazy or harsh. And we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. And then I'm just going to pounce my blender on top of that just to mesh it into the skin, since it is a powder and I don't want it to look too harsh and streaky. I do like to use this middle sort of yellow shade, this middle shade called Lyric, and I like to use that for the very like middle section of my nose to bring back that highlight. I'll do this on the side of my nose as well. I'm going to use my fan brush and pick up that same shade right where we put down that cream contour. And just to add the extra oomph, you definitely do not have to do this if you don't want to take this extra step, but I'm going to use some loose powder. This is in the LarisMarie tub, but it's actually the RCMA no color powder. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my little mini Real Technique sponge. It's got kind of like a angled, sharper side on one side, and then here it's got more of like a pointed. I like to take the angled side because it's kind of like horizontal, and pick up product and put it right where we put that highlight shade. The reason I'm doing this is because I really want that contour to pop, but this is not going to be super harsh. We're going to wipe it off in just a little bit, and it's just going to leave us with a nice subtle brightening effect underneath the contour. We already have one going on, but just to make it a little bit more pronounced. Okay, so I'm going to apply blush now, and the blush I think I'm going to use is a combination of these two right here. This is the Morphe 9N palette. So pretty. I'm using the Becca Opal highlight. Bridge of the nose. I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows and my lips off camera, and then I'll be back. Alright, and that is the finished makeup look. I hope y'all enjoyed this cream contouring and highlighting video, and that you learned a few things. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I really enjoyed filming this video. I think it's awesome using these cream contour and highlight little tubey things. I think they are spot on, very creamy, very blendable. The coloring is great, and they're super inexpensive. I think you can find them on the LA Girl website, or I know Beautylish has them on their website, as well as Namies. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. All of those will be listed down in the description box. I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will see you next time.